The following is an alphabetical list of articles related to the U.S. state of Montana, 0 to 9. Mount. Ask Internet second-level domain for the state of Montana. The 3rd of July 77. 7th Cavalry Regiment, 27th Meridian west from Washington. 34th Meridian west from Washington, 39th Meridian west from Washington, 45th parallel north, 46th parallel north, 47th parallel north, 48th parallel north, 49th parallel north, 105th Meridian west, 106th Meridian west, 107th Meridian west, 108th Meridian west, 109th Meridian west, 110th Meridian west, 111th Meridian west, 112th Meridian west, 113th Meridian west, 114th Meridian west, 115th Meridian west, 116th Meridian west. A. Absaroka-Beartooth Wilderness. Adjacent states and provinces: Province of Alberta, Province of British Columbia, Province of Saskatchewan, State of Idaho, State of North Dakota, State of South Dakota, State of Wyoming. Agriculture in Montana. Agropyron spicatum. Airports in Montana. Amphibians and reptiles of Montana. Anaconda Pintala Wilderness. Arboreta in Montana Commons. Category Arboreta in Montana. Archaeology of Montana. Category Archaeological Sites in Montana Commons. Category Archaeological Sites in Montana. Architecture of Montana. Area codes in Montana. Art museums and galleries in Montana Commons. Category Art museums and galleries in Montana. Artists of Montana. B. Baldwin v. Fish and Game Commission of Montana. Bannack, Montana Territory. First Territorial Capital 1864 to 1865. Battle of Bear Paw. Battle of Canyon Creek. Battle of Cedar Creek. Battle of Powder River. Battle of the Big Hole. Battle of the Little Bighorn. Battle of the Rosebud. Battle of Wolf Mountain. Beaverhead Rock. Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest. Benton Lake National Wildlife Refuge. Benton Lake Wetland Management District. Big Hole National Battlefield. Big Sky Country. Bike paths in Montana. Billings, Montana. Billings Symphony Orchestra. Bitterroot. Bitterroot Mountains. Bitterroot National Forest. Bitterroot Valley. Black Coulee National Wildlife Refuge. Black Hills War. Blackfeet Indian Reservation. Black-spotted cutthroat trout. Blue bunch wheatgrass. Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex. Bob Marshall Wilderness. Botanical Gardens in Montana Commons. Category Botanical Gardens in Montana. Bowdoin National Wildlife Refuge. Bozeman Trail. Bridges on the National Register of Historic Places in Montana. Buildings and structures in Montana Commons. Category Buildings and structures in Montana. See Cabinet Mountains Wilderness. Capital of the State of Montana. Capital of the State of Montana. Caves of Montana Commons. Category Caves of Montana. Census-designated places in Montana. Census statistical areas in Montana. Charles M. Russell National Wildlife Refuge. Charles M. Russell National Wildlife Refuge Complex. Chief Joseph. Chief Plenty Coups State Park and Home. Cities and towns in Montana. Cities in Montana. Towns in Montana. Clams and mussels of Montana. Clark, William. Climate of Montana. Club mosses and mosses of Montana. Colleges and universities in Montana. Columbia Basin. Communications in Montana Commons. Category Communications in Montana. Companies based in Montana. Confederate Gulch and Diamond City. Constitution of the State of Montana. Counties of the State of Montana. Commons. Category: Counties in Montana. Counties of Montana ranked by per capita income. Crazy Horse, Crazy Mountains, Crazy Peak, Creedman Coulee National Wildlife Refuge, Crow Nation, Crustaceans of Montana, Culture of Montana. Commons. Category: Montana Culture. Custer, George Armstrong, Custer National Forest. Dams in Montana. Demographics of Montana. Diamond City, Dicotyledons of Montana, District of Louisiana, Duck-billed Dinosaur, Dull Knife Fight. Economy of Montana. Category: Economy of Montana. Commons. Category: Economy of Montana. Education in Montana. Category: Education in Montana. Commons. Category: Education in Montana. Elections in Montana. Commons. Category: Montana Elections. Electric Peak, Environment of Montana. Commons. Category: Environment of Montana. Fauna of Montana. Federal highways in Montana. Fictional characters from Montana. Films set in Montana. Films shot in Montana. Fish of Montana. Flag of the State of Montana. Flathead Indian Reservation, Flathead Lake, Flathead National Forest. Flora of Montana. Forests in Montana. Fort Belknap Indian Reservation, Fort Peck Indian Reservation. Forts in Montana. Category: Forts in Montana. Commons. Category: Forts in Montana. Gallatin National Forest. Gates of the Mountains Wilderness. Geography of Montana. Category: Geography of Montana. Commons. Category: Geography of Montana. Geology of Montana. Geology of the Rocky Mountains. Commons. Category: Geology of Montana. Ghost towns in Montana. Category: Ghost towns in Montana. Commons. Category: Ghost towns in Montana. Giant Springs, Glaciers of Montana. Commons. Category: Glaciers of Montana. Government of the State of Montana. Website: Constitution of the State of Montana. Category: Government of Montana. Commons. Category: Government of Montana. Governor of the State of Montana. Governors Residents of Montana. List of Governors of Montana. Glacial Lake Missoula, Glacier National Park. Glaciers in Montana. Granite Peak, Grant Cause Ranch National Historic Site. Great Bear Wilderness, Great Falls, Montana. Great Falls of the Missouri River. Great Seal of the State of Montana. Grizzly Bear, Hailstone National Wildlife Refuge. Half-Breed Lake National Wildlife Refuge. Helena, Montana, territorial and state capital since 1875. Helena National Forest. Hewitt Lake National Wildlife Refuge. High schools in Montana. Highway Patrol of Montana. Highways in Montana. Hiking trails in Montana. Commons. Category: Hiking trails in Montana. History of Montana. Historical outline of Montana. Hot Springs of Montana. Commons. Category: Hot Springs of Montana. House of Representatives of the State of Montana. Montana State Representatives. Idaho Panhandle National Forest. Images of Montana. Commons. Category: Montana. Individuals executed in Montana. Insignia of the State of Montana. Interstate highways in Montana. Islands in Montana. Chief Joseph K. Kootenai National Forest. Lake Mason National Wildlife Refuge. Lake T-Bardo National Wildlife Refuge. Lakes of Montana. Commons. Category: Lakes of Montana. Lame Steer National Wildlife Refuge. Landforms of Montana. Landmarks in Montana. Commons. Category: Landmarks in Montana. Lee Metcalf National Wildlife Refuge. Lee Metcalf Wilderness. Legislature of the State of Montana. Montana Senate. Montana House of Representatives. Lewis Meriwether. Lewis and Clark Caverns. Lewis and Clark Expedition. Lewis and Clark National Forest, Lewis Overthrust, Lewisia rediviva. Lists related to the state of Montana. List of amphibians and reptiles of Montana. List of airports in Montana. List of bridges on the National Register of Historic Places in Montana. List of census statistical areas in Montana. List of cemeteries in Montana. List of cities and towns in Montana. List of cities and towns along the Missouri River. List of colleges and universities in Montana. List of counties in Montana. List of Montana county seats. List of dicotyledons of Montana. List of Montana county name etymologies. List of fish of Montana. List of flora and fauna of Montana. List of forests in Montana. List of forts in Montana. List of ghost towns in Montana. List of governors of Montana. List of high schools in Montana. List of hospitals in Montana. List of individuals executed in Montana. List of islands of Montana. List of lakes in Montana. List of lichens of Montana. List of mammals of Montana. List of museums in Montana. List of mountains in Montana. List of national historic landmarks in Montana. List of newspapers in Montana. List of non-marine mollusks of Montana. List of numbered highways in Montana. List of people from Montana. List of places in Montana. List of radio stations in Montana. List of railroads in Montana. List of rapids in Montana. List of registered historic places in Montana. List of rivers of Montana. List of state forests in Montana. List of state parks in Montana. List of state prisons in Montana. List of telephone area codes in Montana. List of television stations in Montana. List of tunnels in Montana. List of waterfalls in Montana. List of United States congressional delegations from Montana. List of United States congressional districts in Montana. List of United States representatives from Montana. List of United States senators from Montana. Mountain passes in Montana. Mountain passes in Montana. Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument. Lolo National Forest, Lost Trail National Wildlife Refuge, Louisiana. Purchase of 1803. M. Mayasora Peeblesaurum, Makoshika State Park, Malmstrom Air Force Base. Mammals of Montana. Maps of Montana Commons. Category: Maps of Montana. Medicine Lake National Wildlife Refuge, Medicine Lake Wilderness, Meriwether Lewis. Metropolitan areas in Montana, micropolitan areas in Montana, military in Montana, Mission Mountains Wilderness, Missoula, Montana, Missouri Headwaters State Park, Missouri River, monocotyledons of Montana, Montana website. Category: Montana Commons. Category: Montana, Montana, Montana Air National Guard, Montana Army National Guard, Montana Democratic Party, Montana Department of Transportation, Montana Dinosaur Trail, Montana Highway Patrol, Montana Melody, Montana Republican Party, Montana State Capitol, Montana State University System, Montana Stream Access Law, Montana Television Network. Monuments and memorials in Montana Commons. Category: Monuments and memorials in Montana. Mountain passes in Montana, mountain ranges in Montana, mountain states, mountains of Montana, Mount Cleveland, Mount Stimson, mountain peaks of the Rocky Mountains. Commons. Category: Mountains of Montana. Mount Ellis Academy, Bozeman, Montana. Morning Cloak, Mound, United States Postal Service postal code for the state of Montana. Mullen Road. Museums in Montana. Category: Museums in Montana Commons. Category: Museums in Montana. Music of Montana Commons. Category: Music of Montana. Category: Musical groups from Montana. Category: Montana musicians. N. National Bison Range. National Bison Range Complex. National Forests of Montana Commons. Category: National Forests of Montana. National Historic Landmarks in Montana. National Historic Sites in Montana, National Natural Landmarks in Montana, National Wilderness Areas in Montana, National Wildlife Refuges in Montana, Native Nations in Montana, Natural Disasters in Montana, Natural History of Montana Commons, Category Natural History of Montana, Newspapers in Montana, Nez Perce National Historic Trail, Nine Pipe National Wildlife Refuge, Northwest Montana Wetland Management District, Northwestern United States, Nymphalis antiopa, O. Oncorhynchus clarkii lua c. Oregon Country, Oregon Treaty of 1846. Organizations based in Montana, ROY Plata, P. Pablo National Wildlife Refuge, Pacific Northwest Economic Region, Parker Homestead State Park. People from Montana. Category People from Montana Commons. Category People from Montana. Category People by City in Montana. Category People by County in Montana. Category People from Montana by Occupation. Pinus Ponderosa. Places in Montana ranked by per capita income. Politics of Montana Commons. Category Politics of Montana. Pompey's Pillar National Monument. Ponderosa Pine, Powder River Basin, Protected Areas of Montana Commons. Category Protected Areas of Montana. Radio stations in Montana. Rail transport in Montana. Railroads in Montana. Rapids in Montana. Rattlesnake National Recreation Area. Rattlesnake Wilderness. Red Cloud's War. Red Rock Lakes National Wildlife Refuge. Red Rock Lakes Wilderness. Regions of Montana. Regional designations of Montana. Registered historic places in Montana. Religion in Montana. Category Religion in Montana Commons. Category Religion in Montana. Reptiles of Montana. Rivers in Montana. Rocky Boy Indian Reservation. Rocky Mountain Front. Rocky Mountains. Est Sacagawea. Scapegoat Wilderness. Selway Bitterroot Wilderness. Senate of the State of Montana. Montana State Senators. Settlements in Montana. Cities in Montana. Towns in Montana. Census-designated places in Montana. Other unincorporated communities in Montana. List of ghost towns in Montana. List of places in Montana. 7th Cavalry Regiment. Sims Fishing Products. Sitting Bull. Ski areas and resorts in Montana Commons. Category Ski areas and resorts in Montana. Sports in Montana. Category Sports in Montana Commons. Category Sports in Montana. Category Sports venues in Montana Commons. Category Sports venues in Montana. Spring Meadow Lake State Park. Springs in Montana. State of Montana website. Government of the State of Montana. Category Government of Montana Commons. Category Government of Montana. State forests in Montana. State parks in Montana. State Police of Montana. State prisons in Montana. Structures in Montana Commons. Category Buildings and structures in Montana. Sternella neglecta. Granville Stewart. Supreme Court of the State of Montana. Swan River National Wildlife Refuge. Symbols of the State of Montana. Montana State Ballad. Montana Melody. Website. Montana State Bird. Western Meadowlark. Montana State Butterfly. Morning Cloak. Montana State Fish. Black-spotted cutthroat trout. Montana State Flag. Flag of the State of Montana. Montana State Flower. Bitterroot. Montana State Fossil. Duck-billed dinosaur. Montana State Gems. Sapphire and agate. Montana State Grass. Blue bunch wheatgrass. Montana State Mammal. Grizzly bear. Montana State Motto. ROY Plata website. Montana State Nickname. Treasure State. Montana State Seal. Great Seal of the State of Montana. Montana State Slogan. Big Sky Country. Montana State Song. Montana State Tree. Ponderosa Pine. Pinus ponderosa. T. Telecommunications in Montana Commons. Category: Communications in Montana. Telephone area codes in Montana. Television stations in Montana. Territory of Dakota -1889. Territory of Idaho -1890. Territory of Louisiana 1805 to 1812. Territory of Missouri 1812 to 1821. Territory of Montana 1864 to 1889. Territory of Nebraska -1867. Territory of Oregon -1859. Territory of Washington -1889. Theaters in Montana Commons. Category: Theaters in Montana. Timeline of pre-statehood Montana history. Tourism in Montana Commons. Category: Tourism in Montana. Towns and cities in Montana. Towns in Montana. Cities in Montana. Transportation in Montana. Category: Transportation in Montana Commons. Category: Transport in Montana. Trapper Peak. Travelers Rest State Park. Treasure State. Treaty of Fort Laramie. Tunnels in Montana. TVMT. Owl Bend National Wildlife Refuge. Owl Bend Wilderness. Unincorporated communities in Montana. United States of America. States of the United States of America. United States Census statistical areas of Montana. United States congressional delegations from Montana. United States congressional districts in Montana. United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. United States District Court for the District of Montana. United States Representatives from Montana. United States Senators from Montana. Universities and colleges in Montana. University of Montana System. Upper Missouri River Breaks National Monument. Ursus Arctos Horribilis. U.S. Mount ISO 3166-2 U.S. Region Code for the State of Montana. V. Virginia City, Montana Territory. Territorial Capital 1865 to 1875. W. Warhorse National Wildlife Refuge. Waterfalls of Montana Commons. Category: Waterfalls of Montana. Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. Welcome Creek Wilderness. Western Meadowlark. Wikimedia Commons. Category: Montana Commons. Category: Maps of Montana. Wikinews. Category: Montana Wikinews. Portal: Montana Wikipedia. Category: Montana Wikipedia Portal. Montana Wikipedia. Wiki Project Montana. Category: Wiki Project Montana. Articles. Wikipedia. Wiki Project Montana. Hashtag members. Wilderness areas in Montana. William Clark. Wines of Montana. Writers of Montana. Lester S. Wilson. Y. Yellowstone National Park. Z. Zoos in Montana Commons. Category: Zoos in Montana.